I'm going to give a solid plan for people who are overweight, meaning no abdominals. That's the line in the sand that I'm going to draw. So if you do not have any visible abdominals, this plan that I'm about to describe will fit you, and if you follow it, you will lose weight. Now the key word, follow. I'm going to give you the plan, but you have to follow through. It's as simple as that. So here's the plan. There's a foundation. You're going to train 2 to 3 times a week. You're either going to do full body both times, or you're going to do upper lower. Doesn't matter which day you start with. So twice a week you're going to the gym. One time is going to be legs, and the other day, multiple days after, so Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, give it a couple days. Don't go 2 days in a row and then not go for 5 days. The point is to split it up so that you're recovered, and that next training session is going to count. So if you're going to go with the 2-day approach in the upper lower, it's going to be legs one day, upper body the other day. And if you're going to go 3 times a week, it's going to be push-pull legs. Could you go full body each time for 3 days a week? You could, but I think it might be too much for someone that I'm describing this plan to. And I think they might miss body parts, so I think it's going to be easier just to categorize the body parts together. So a push-pull legs, it could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it doesn't matter. But give it at least a day in between so that you're recovered and that next training session is going to be quality, not just going through the motions. I need you to be there. I need you to be locked in your head. Okay? You don't have to be crazy locked in, because this type of person just wants to build some muscle mass and lose body fat and finally see abdominals for the first time in their life, which is most people, because most people are too heavy. So normally what I talk about is more for bodybuilding, but this is more for the regular person who just wants some muscle and to lose body fat. So that's the gym plan. Now, how many sets per body part? Well, you can go back into some of my videos and see what I talk about more in detail. But if you're going to do push-pull legs, for example, let's use pull. You're going to do maybe 5 sets for back, because you're not going to go to failure. I'm assuming because most people will break at some point and then they just won't go to the gym. I'm assuming you're leaving a couple reps in the tank. So 5 sets for back, a couple sets for rear delts, and then a couple sets of biceps. If you're going to go to failure, then you might only need 3 sets for back, a pull down, some type of row, and then something for more your upper back, or more specifically upper back, like some type of shrug, or more of a pull and a shrug at the same time, not just a row back. Because you can use a high row, for example, which is in between a pull down, so you're pulling down and then it comes into a row. That's more lats and lower trap. But if you're going to do, let's say, a low row machine, you can lean back and pull more of a shrug row. So that's how I would categorize those 3 sets there, and then rear delts and biceps. And for let's say you're going to do the twice a week routine, you're going to do anywhere from 5 to 10 sets for your legs. Don't overcomplicate it. Just do a couple sets for the quads, a couple sets for the hamstrings, a couple inner thigh. You don't even have to do inner thigh, because this isn't a bodybuilding show. You just want some muscle mass. And then a couple sets of calves. Just make it all hard. And same thing for the upper body. A couple sets for chest, a couple sets for back, a couple sets of shoulders, and then a couple sets of arms. But If you really want to know more detail, you got to go back into to some of my videos to see how many sets you should be doing. But it's going to vary. But it doesn't need to be exact. I think 5 to 10 sets for your upper lower days, somewhere in there. And if you're going to do full body, maybe 10 total sets for your entire body. And if you're going to do the push-pull legs, this might be 5 to 7 sets per workout. So let's go to the diet now. Now this is key. You don't have to work out at all if you just want to lose body fat. You don't. Calories in, calories out. And there's a whole debate of whether that's accurate. But the funny thing is, when I reduce calories on somebody, they lose weight. And when I increase calories, they gain weight. So it's 99% effective. So it works. And it works with me, and I've seen it work with a bunch of people. Now you have to follow it. So this is where the math comes in. You have to be in a deficit. How do you know if you're in a deficit? Well, you're weighing yourself first of all, and you have a food scale. So if you don't have a scale to weigh yourself, you got to get one of those. Get one off Amazon, go to the store, get one at Walmart or something, whatever. Just needs to track your weight. Doesn't need to know the whole body fat percentage things. That's not even fully accurate anyway. So I'll tell you what is accurate. Weighing your food. So you need a food scale. You can get that off Amazon as well. And you're gonna weigh each meal that you do. And you're gonna have 3 to 5 meals. And if I'm gonna use an example of a body weight, let's use 200 pounds because that's a little bit above the average American body weight for a male. Female is a little bit less. I think it's 170 something. So this is specifically for males because females are going to have a different weight and all that. But they could use this information that I'm saying. They're just going to have to reduce the calories more and lower the protein intake, all that. So 200-pound male, you're training moderately intense. So for an advanced lifter, the rule that is out there, it's 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of lean mass. So what does that mean? Let's say you're 200 pounds as a male, but you're obese. If we were to strip away your body fat, strip away your skeleton and your organs, maybe you only have 110 pounds of muscle mass. So for an advanced lifter, that person would eat around 110 grams of protein, because that's how much, because 1 gram of the 110 is going towards 1 pound of muscle. That's kind of the idea. That can vary a little bit, but that's a solid number. That's for an advanced lifter. So if you're a moderate lifter, as in moderately intense, as in you're leaving a couple of reps in the tank, you're not going to pure failure, so you're not damaging the muscle as much, so you don't need as much protein, then you're going to lower that protein intake down. Maybe you only need 80 grams of protein. And so that's your protein intake. So your foundation of your diet is going to be around the protein. The protein comes first in that meal. And then you can figure out how many more calories left you have for that meal. And how do you know that? Well, you have to know if you're going to eat 3 meals for that day, 4 or 5. I kind of like that 3, 4, or 5 meals. Could you have more meals? You could, but I think it's unnecessary for this type of person. And just for most people. Even pro bodybuilders eat only 5 meals a day. So, I mean, some of them eat 6 or 7, but you know what I mean. So, and I think 2 is too little. I want a dose of calories in the morning, midday, and at night. That's the minimum, bare minimum. And in between that first and second meal can be that other meal if you're going to do the 5 meal plan. And then in between that third and 5th meal, timing, there's going to be a 4th meal for the 5 meal. You just got to spread it out. 3 hours apart for the 5 meals a day. For the 4 meals, maybe it's 4 hours, and then for the 3 meals, maybe it's 4.5 or 5 hours. Depends how long you're up. But you get the idea. You got to spread it out more if you're going to have less meals, and you're going to tighten the time frame with less calories if you're going to do the 5 meal. So if we're going to do, let's say, 2,500 calories, I'm just giving a baseline here. 200-pound male, training moderately, a couple times a week. They're going to eat, let's just say, 2,500 calories. Maybe it's 3,000, maybe it's 2,000, maybe it's something in between. But start off with 2,500 calories. And let's say 80 grams of protein, maybe 100 grams of protein. You could do 110, it's not the end of the world. Just somewhere around 100 grams of protein. 80 to 120, just giving you a range. Doesn't have to be accurate or perfectly accurate, but somewhere in there. You don't need 200, but 50 is not enough. So somewhere around 100. And this will vary how hard you train. If you train harder and get closer to failure, you need more protein. But even for a super advanced lifter, they're gonna, they might do 120 grams for it, because that's really the muscle mass that you have. Now, if you have 150 pounds of muscle, then you're gonna go 150 grams of protein, even if you weigh 200 pounds. So, now, the protein, calories. 1 gram of protein. 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of carb is 4 calories. 1 gram of fat, I believe, is 9. And alcohol is 7. So, how are you going to work out how much of your 2,500 calories? Let's use 5 meals. Well, you know what? Let's use 3 meals. I think that's more doable for the average person. So I do 5, but I am more structured and willing to structure my day very well to get all 5 in. Let's use 3 for the regular person. So if you want 100 grams of protein, you're going to need 33.3. Let's just use 30 grams of protein per meal. Morning, midday, and then night. So how many ounces of protein is 30 grams of protein? Well, every ounce of meat, this is a general rule, every ounce of meat, and eggs as well, is 7 grams of protein. That's uncooked. A lot of people weigh their food cooked, and I did that for years. And if you go to uncooked, it's gonna feel like it's not that much protein, but it's really uncooked. That's the right weight. Because if you're gonna weigh it cooked, you're actually eating more protein than you really need for that ounce, because it shrinks down in the microwave or whatever, wherever you're cooking it. So if you're gonna do 3 ounces cooked, let's just say, because that's more accurate, it doesn't matter that much. It can be inaccurately accurate. If you're eating 3 ounces cooked, and that's what you do for years, it's inaccurately accurate, if that makes sense, because it's the same thing. So 3 ounces times 7, because each ounce is 7 grams of protein, that's 21 grams of protein right there. But it's cooked. So to me, it's more like 4 ounces. So let's say 3 ounces of protein. So it gives you about 30 grams of protein. So you can do 3 ounces of cooked, maybe 4. Doesn't really matter that much. 3 to 4 ounces cooked. Morning, midday, and then night. Now you definitely can switch this out for a different source of protein. It doesn't have to be meat, but I think you should be having meat at least once a day. So if you need 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal, you can have yogurt instead. You can have cottage cheese. You can have a protein shake. You just got to get in that dose of protein. You can't get all the protein in on one meal. It doesn't stay in your system for very long. You gotta feed it throughout the day. So it's kind of like overfilling your car with gas and then expecting to just have gas for the entire time. But that extra gas didn't even go in the car. It just overflooded. It's gone. You can kind of think of it like that. So small doses of protein throughout the day. So that's the protein intake. And there's 4 calories per gram. So if you're going to work out the calories on that, let's work it out per meal. Because you're having 3 meals, 2,500 calories, 800, what is that, 830? Gives you about 2490, 830 calories. So what's the math on that? 3 ounces of protein. Depends what you're eating. If you're eating chicken or turkey, that's 30 calories an ounce. And then red meat is 50 calories an ounce. This is just a general rule. As long as it's not a super fatty meat. You can just cut off the meat to make it easier so you don't have those extra calories. Or just buy a lean meat, like a 90 or 93% lean. So if you're going to use beef, let's say, 50 calories an ounce, that's 150 calories for 3 ounces for that meal. So how many calories left do you have? 830 minus 150. So what is that? Minus 200, 630, 680. You have 680 calories left for that meal. Eat something clean, whatever, rice cakes, potatoes, whatever else you want to add. Just don't eat donuts or munchkins to add up those calories. It's going to mess with your brain chemistry and just put you in a low frequency. The shitty food doesn't really do good for your brain. So, clean food. Could you have 600 calories there and then have a snack somewhere that you added in? Like not a 4th meal, but it's just a snack somewhere. Yeah, you can do that as well. I'm just giving you a good general baseline of how you should structure your training. How many days you go to the gym, how many sets, your intensity, moderate to high intensity for your sets, and then how many meals you should be having, and the calories. This is for a 200-pound person. I'm giving a general weight that could work for the majority of people, or the majority of males. It can work for some females as well. But they generally just don't have as much muscle, so they don't need as much food because they have a smaller engine to begin with. The more muscle you have, basically the bigger engine you have in your car. The more fuel, gas it needs. The gas is basically food for us. So that's why having more muscle mass makes it harder to gain body fat and easier to get lean. That's really the key. The weightlifting, to build muscle mass over time, look at the long-term gains, not the cardio that's going to burn a lot of calories on a daily basis. But if you stop it, you don't get those benefits at all. It's gone. You didn't put in the work and build a structure that needs a lot of material. So, then for cardio, I think walking is enough, honestly. It's calories in, calories out. So you're basically going to follow this plan, eat those meals, and you're going to weigh yourself every day. And you're going to take the average of the first week, right? You're going to add up those numbers each day, and then you're going to divide it by 7. That's your average. And you're going to do that for 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is enough time to see if you're going to drop weight or not. And you're going to do it again for the second week. This is a separate equation. Add up the weights, divide it by 7. If the number is less than the first week by a pound or 2, keep the same routine. If it went up in weight, then you're going to have to drop those calories and just take away the carbohydrate. You're going to have to do some math. But I think a 500 calorie deficit is a good amount to see progress and not be starving. So a 500 calorie deficit, if you truly are in a 500 calorie deficit, you'll lose 1 pound a week. Okay? Because there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. So 500 calories per day times 7, that's 3,500. So you're going to lose around a pound. But it's not perfect. You might hold steady for 2 weeks and all of a sudden drop 2 pounds. The body fluctuates. It doesn't really want to lose body fat. It's actually it's a good survival thing to have. It keeps you warm, and if you don't have food, you got an energy source. It'll break down the body fat. Just in modern times that we want to look a certain way, so but our brain isn't designed to lose the body fat. That's why it's difficult. That's why most can't be lean. Their brain is fighting them. So you have to fight through that through just discipline, determination, whatever motivational word you want to use. But the reward has to be high enough at the end to continue this routine where you're not completely satisfied after each meal. And you're going to be a little hungry throughout the day. You're not going to feel right. You might not sleep perfectly. You just got to force yourself to fall asleep. And the later you stay up, the hungrier you're going to get, and you're eventually going to binge. So you might not be going out late at night that often, because not only are you more tempted to eat bad food, but you're going to be hungrier as well. So it's going to be harder to fall asleep. So basically, you're going to have to live a more structured life. It can be temporary until you get to a certain body weight or a certain look, and then you have more error room, and you can handle a little bit more calories without gaining body fat. Because to be in a deficit, that's the way to lose body fat. But if you want to maintain that body fat, you can up your calories. And then if you want to gain body fat, or just gain weight, you would increase your calories. So this deficit feeling is only going to be temporary. And eventually when you get to a certain weight, then you can maintain it. You don't want to rebound. What I've realized is that's the biggest problem for people. They can get lean, but they will rebound. Because you are fighting this urge this whole time to eat more food, and then sometimes it just consumes people's minds, and they rebound much faster than what it took to get down. It's like they chipped away, like they walked up the stairs nice and slow, and then they just jumped off, and they were just right back where they were. So, track your calories. Do a couple of walks throughout the day to get your steps. Just move more as well. You don't have to overthink it, but if you do want a more structured step count, then you can count your steps. I mean, get your 10,000 steps in. You don't need to be doing 20,000 steps. 5,000 is kind of low, but I do think that general rule of 10,000 steps seems to be pretty accurate. Do a morning walk. Do a walk in like the middle of your shift somewhere, wherever you're working. Do a walk at night. But the steps just add up. Don't park super close at the store. Park further away. Not only is your car not going to get hit, or the chances of it getting hit is much lower, but you're going to get more steps in too. Like, I'm programmed now to park far, even if the parking lot is empty, because I want to get my steps in. So that's I think that's it for this video. And if you want any other questions, or you have any other questions, just comment and I'll answer whatever question you got. So